Hey, what's happening? This is Doolin Dalton.
Steve Wareham.
And it's Monday night, so it's that time again. We are about to get down and nerdy.
Can someone go ahead and kill that, please? Just stop the track.
Nerdtopia, yo, and we got a fucking podcast. Cruising in the speeder, bullseye, and flipping womp-rats. Comics, video games, movies, real-life superheroes is what you can expect if you're wired to be weirdo. So we welcome all the newbies and the groupies, flashing boobies in the movies without cooties. In the show, it's got you drooling with this comedy, no fooling. Now presenting you your host is Steve Doolin. Word, NerdtopiaCast.blogspot.com, Facebook.com/NerdtopiaCast, also YouTube and podcast 38 seconds.
Hey, welcome to NerdtopiaCast episode 4. How you doing this week, Steve?
What's going on, children?
What's happening? Man, I'm doing pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and give the disclaimer. This week I'm fighting off some sort of nasty head cold. So it's had a tendency to throw me into coughing fits this week. So, if I suddenly start coughing, I do apologize. I'm trying to hold it back as best I can.
Yeah, don't, we'd rather your lungs explode than get that kind of nonsense on air, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Choke that nonsense back.
Just like sucking a cock.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, come on.
We've all had to make sacrifices.
Take one for the team.
Yeah, exactly. At least that's what they told me.
Yeah.
Before we get rolling, man, first of all, I wanted to thank Chris Hall and Edward Phelps. They're doing their best to plug us this week, man. They're throwing our show up there on their
Facebook
wall, trying to get new listeners for us. So I appreciate that.
Oh, that's one of the things that I've had the pleasure of knowing Chris Hall for several months now. And he actually works. You know this, I mean, as well as I do. But he is a Londonite.
Yes,
I don't know if he's in London proper. But he's over in England. And
you can call it the fund.
Yeah, and he works two jobs. He works for the government by day, I think in a tourism council position or something like that. But he is also what a lot of people don't know is he is a stunt penis. For a lot of British.
No, you're right.
movies.
You're right.
Yeah. So
because it's just, I mean, all right. I don't want to embarrass the guy or anything, but he has an abnormally large penis.
Yeah. And
and so it's a nice little way for him to make some extra scratch on the side by being a stunt cock.
You want to see those on kind of uglier guys who don't have a lot going for them. So it's really not fair for someone who's already that good looking and British to have such girth, but good on him, man, and he's been really supportive and kind of gotten the name out there, and I think we all have a lot to be thankful for, regarding Chris and his giant dong.
Right, and Edward Phelps, I like your hat.
You have it. You're gonna have to. Chris has put in some time. You certainly have passed the word on and gotten it out there, and we are this close, man, to just throwing some absolute glory your way, because I'm sure, not that I've seen it firsthand, who really hasn't seen Chris Hall's large giant penis on several internet videos and inside several beautiful women. But I'm sure if I looked hard enough, I could find yours too. So keep up the likes, keep up the shares, and we appreciate all of your support.
Yep, thanks for the love, man.
Yep.
Well, I had a story happen to me this week, man. I haven't told anybody this. I told Jen. All I told Jen was that something happened to me while I was at work, and I haven't shared the story with anybody yet, so I can kind of break this exclusive tale to our listeners. Something that happened to me. Yeah. And now, breaking news. It's probably, if not the most awkward moment in my life, definitely somewhere in like the top 3.
Yeah.
But this was last Thursday, man. I have to share this tale with you. So as you know, not all of our listeners may know, but I work as a performer at a theme park. I won't say the name of it for obvious reasons,
right.
But I work as a performer at a theme park. And this week in particular, throughout the weekends, we do our usual stunt action shows. And then during the week, at this point in time, we're doing these educational shows for children. So we're portraying characters from a popular book series, and there's educational songs that go along with the books. But we're portraying characters from these books and doing these educational shows for I think it's like ages 3 to 6.
All right.
It's a learning program. So I'm doing this show in which I'm portraying a character from this book series, and I'm walking around in. First of all, I'm in an ice cream man costume. I have on this giant oversized white shirt, and I have like a little cartoon ice cream cone patch that's sewed to it.
Basically, you're the good humor man,
yeah,
right?
Right. Yeah, yeah. I'm very cartoony looking ice cream man.
Fair enough.
As per my character in the children's books, and so we do I think like 4 shows a day, one every hour on the hour, and the shows last for like 10 minutes. So I'm between shows, and I go to the bathroom. And granted, we don't have personal performer bathrooms. We just use the public restrooms that are there in the park. And so I walk in, and there's a kid. He can't be any older than 3, maybe 4 at the most. If he's 4, he's a young 4. And so I go into the bathroom, and this kid, he's in there by himself, and he's standing at the urinal, and he's kind of tipped back because he's trying to pee into this urinal. And he's got his pants around his ankles, like he's just got little cherub cheeks, just like presented to the world. He doesn't hear me come in, so I kind of like tiptoe behind him.
Already, this is strange because if I'm third party grown adult, kind of standing in the background, kind of doing my business, I see a creepy ice cream man like sneaking around some 4-year-old with his pants around his ankles.
So already, this is a recipe for disaster. I should have just walked out and waited for the kid to leave. But no, I don't do that. So I kind of tippy-toe around. I was like, I'll just slip into the stall and go do my business and get out. Well, I walk behind this kid, and then his little bare cherub cheeks just vibrate. The kid lets out a man-sized fart.
Awesome.
Like sounds like cloth ripping. And I was already tickled by this visual of this, kid with his pants around his ankles, peeing in a public restroom, and it tickled me. So I laughed really loud. I just guffawed, and this kid is so startled because he didn't know I was in the restroom. He's so startled that he whips around really quick to see who's there. Now, didn't know I was there. What's that?
Tell me there was. Just continue, because this is going to a funny place in my brain.
Yeah. So this kid whips around, and not only is he so startled that he whips around without thinking, but he hears me laugh, and this kid turns around like Twig and Bear is just completely exposed to the world, and he proceeds to just pee on the floor.
Yes!
Which is too much for me. Like, I start laughing. Now, from his point of view, not only was he just startled and whipping around and pissing on the floor, but he's being laughed at by a character that he probably adores in this book series. He's being laughed at by the ice cream man.
That kid's gonna grow up.
And it becomes too much for the poor little guy, and he starts crying.
They're gonna find bodies in his basement, and they're gonna be like, "It was the ice cream man. The ice cream man laughed at my weenie." I'm stuck now. This is so fucking awkward. I'm in the bathroom alone with this kid who's exposed and crying and peeing on the floor, and the only thing I can do is like, no, shh, don't cry. Hey buddy, you're peeing on the floor. Turn around. And finally, by this point, his mother, who was standing just outside the door, decides that she hears her kid crying and she needs to kind of barge in to see what's going on. Awesome.
So Mom walks in to a grown man in an ice cream man costume standing there trying to console her son who is crying, totally exposed and pissing on the floor.
Like, shh,
Probably one of the most awkward moments of my life.
Shh, listen, people are going to hear you if you keep crying. You need to... Oh, hi, Mom.
Be quiet, stop crying!
It's natural.
Oh, man, I'm turning beet red just sharing this story, but I look at her and I'm like, your son needs help. And I just duck out of there as fast as I can, just breeze right past Mom, and I go into hiding, and I keep waiting for, like, the phone call from management that comes, like, what the hell were you doing in that bathroom with that kid? The phone call never came, luckily.
That's good. That's not a phone call you want. That's a question you never want to have to answer. What were you doing in the bathroom with that kid?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, so fucking awkward sauce, man. If not the most awkward moment in my life, one of the top 3.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up. I tend to I mean, I run into those situations all the time, just because I lost all I don't really have I don't consider what other people think of me. I lost that a long time ago. Like, I just don't care. So I tend to kind of shoot from the hip and run my mouth a little bit more than most, because I don't have a filter. It's just not a part of who I am, and some people love it, some people hate it, and it's kind of a thing. We had this guy, and again, like I've said before, I work for this absolute soul-sucking job. I work at a bank, and
right.
But the cool thing is I work at a bank inside a grocery store. And so, like, instead of just staring at walls basically for 8 or 9 hours when people come and make deposits and stuff, I actually get to go out and kind of talk to people in the community. And as part of my job is to go out and just, meet people, shake hands, and strike up conversation. Yeah. Which, I mean, that should be what I do for a living. I should just be some guy who goes and walks around and talks to people. I can do that really well. And so... Like, we have this weird kind of relationship with the people in the store, because, either the people at the store are really aloof and kind of into their own thing, or they're, really, really friendly. We work at a traditionally really super friendly grocery store, so a lot of them are really, really cool, but some of them just don't want anything to do with you, and they're into their own kind of work dramas and whatever.
Right.
So we got this guy at the store, looks just like, he looks like? He looks like a cross between Harry Potter and Hawkman. So he's got like the Harry Potter glasses and haircut coming on, but the big old beak nose and whatnot.
Yeah.
And just the geekiest dude you'd ever meet in your entire life, and not very friendly at all. Which I'm like, cool, all right, go do your thing, and we don't have to be friends. So kind of walk back and forth, and I guess one day he was just having one of those days where it's just like, he used up his fucks by like 10 a.m. He had no more fucks left to give, and and so he's walking down. Now, I know the guy's name, but only because he's got a picture of himself on the wall, and that's all we've never had kind words, or not bad words either, just don't know him, and I've been working there about a year, and so I'm walking down the aisle, like, heading to the bathroom, and and he puts his hand up. I'm
bracing for it now.
No, I'm just no. Trust me, this is not. We're not getting back into into pedastry. Alleged pedastry. So the guy puts his hand up.
Okay.
So this is the way my mind works versus other human beings. It's like, I've never had can you just, like, how do you nut up and ask, like, I've never had words with this dude before, and automatically he's wanting to high five. And it's like, you can't just high five. Like, that's huge.
Like, no, you don't get a high five. You've never said a word to me.
Well, but listen, I mean, that's several jumps in the relationship. You just can't go up and walk up in like 5. You have to start off with pleasantries and like a nod. Like, I mean, even if you nodded like in the morning, like we're walking through, and you give the nod, like, then maybe you could do the high five and by the afternoon after things have kind of warmed up. But this is like, I mean, it's kind of like, USA and Russia and the Cold War, and like, oh, that dude doesn't, ever want to talk and all that other kind of shit. And he's probably saying the same thing about me, and all of a sudden, he wants to tear down the wall with a high five. And it's like, no, things don't work that way. You can't go from 0 to 60.
No, there's got to be a diplomatic process.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Between being not even acquaintances to the high five, man. You can't just give out the casual high five to anybody you see.
Right, it cheapens it. It cheapens the 5. Then you're just some dude who hands out high fives, and you don't want to be that guy. Your fives need to mean something. So, like, I'm 3 steps away from this guy, and all of a sudden, all this stuff begins to occur to me. It's like, okay, well, maybe I can just kind of, maybe I can bro fist him, because I think bro fisting, you're not grasping. When you grasp another man's hand, that's like, that's entering into like a pact or an agreement. Houses have been bought on handshakes, right? So
yeah,
you could bro fist, you could knuck up.
You give the bro fist to a child,
yeah.
You know? It's all, yeah.
Yeah, you could knuck up. So I'm thinking I could do that. Maybe, quite possibly we could, we could figure out a way to, do the miss, the high five miss, like, oh, we're stupid, high five miss. But then I figure out this. So it turns into this weird kind of snap, wink, and point kind of thing. The guy actually transferred stores. There's been like this giant uproar at Publix over the last couple of days. The guy's actually transferred stores since then, and I'm wondering if that didn't have something to do with the fact is like, he just got kind of like it must be like how people feel when they get shot down on dates and stuff like that.
You sent him away, Steve.
Yeah.
He's not another store. He's somewhere huddled up in the alley, like cutting himself just a little bit every day.
But that's what I'm saying.
Just to see if he could still feel.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can't make leaps like
that.
I
worked up all my courage to give that. I always admired that guy, but I couldn't work myself up to talk to him. And when I finally did.
Well, but what I'm saying is that is so high up on the because the 5 is sacred. Like everything works down from the 5. So you can't just go from not saying a word to going for the 5. That's just how my brain works. So all of this has been being said to say that, like, I can assure you that situation that you were in, if I was there, would have been handled much, much more poorly than the way it sounds like you kind of got out scot-free. I'd be like,
you can talk about how you would have handled it all you want.
No, I would have bombed that.
You get someone that might be accusing you of being a pedophile, it gets awkward, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't like people answering, coming in and asking questions and shit, like, period of me, because I get really standoffish when people try to accuse me of anything. So, I can imagine mom kind of saying, what? Nothing's going on? Why? And then just, like, running into the stall. Leave me alone!
Man. Well, let me ask you this, man. How do you feel about I'm totally switching gears.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Underworld series?
I've never actually seen one.
Oh, okay.
I've seen I get to kind of the storyline and it sounds kind of cool and everything, but I guess it just never it kind of seemed to me to be too faction-y, like one group against another group, which is the entire like basis of the story. And when you get into that, I think sometimes it detracts from the characters, and so it kind of like it never appealed to me enough to spend money on it, I guess.
Fair enough. Well, the only reason I asked was because I saw the last one, the newest one this week.
Was it any good?
I was going to discuss it if you'd seen it. Since you haven't seen it, I won't discuss it. But I thought it was pretty fucking terrible. So,
was it bad?
If you're listening to this, you like the other Underworld movies, I don't really recommend this one, unless you're just a fan of mindless action with no plot behind it and lots of flickering fluorescent lights for about 2 hours.
Does it have like the same characters, or do they like keep adding like different people like it has Kate Beckinsale's character. Am I pronouncing Kate Beckinsale? Yeah, there you go. That's Kate Beckinsale. Beckinsdale.
She's a vampire, folks.
Yeah.
So it has her vampire character. She's the main character, and then spoilers, if you haven't seen the movie and you're going to see the movie, just go ahead and like fast forward here. But they kill off the guy that was her love interest for 2 movies. They kill him off in like the first 5 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
And a lot of the first 2 movies revolved around her saving his life, and so it's like, well, all of that was for nothing.
Well, wasn't that dude like a vampire? No, he was a werewolf.
He was a hybrid.
Okay. Oh, there's a hybrid?
He was a vampire werewolf hybrid in the movie.
That's frightening.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty badass,
yeah.
And then they kill him off in the first like 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, what the fuck was all that about then? If you guys are gonna kill him, if you're gonna make so much of the focus on him and then just kill him off in 5 minutes. So yeah, don't watch the movie if you're a fan of the other ones. It really kind of ruins everything.
I got in a little not a tiff, but a little verbal altercation with your wife the other day, who claimed that Kate Beckinsale was hotter than Scarlett Johansson, and I was having none of that.
She asked me this. She said, "Hey, who do you think is hotter, Kate Beckinsale or Scarlett Johansson?" And I said, "Okay, well let me put it to you like this. I would rather fuck ScarJo but I would rather be with Kate Beckinsale.
No, not I.
No, that's where I am with that.
Yeah, no. I mean, Kate Beckinsale seems like a nice girl and all that, but
she does, man. She's got the watch Click, man, with Adam Sandler. She's adorable in that movie.
Is that the one where he goes into the Bed Bath & Beyond and gets the remote control? From
Christopher Walken.
Yeah. I've seen it, but it didn't make an impact on me, I guess. I watched Serendipity with Cusack back in the day.
Oh, she's so cute in that movie.
Yeah, and she was pretty adorable in that. But to me, man, I mean, like, you can't. That was another thing that Chris did the other day, because I've been kind of down in the dumps. So you and I have this kind of in common. We live kind of removed from civilization. Not me so much. I live removed away from from decent folk. There aren't a lot of people. I live in the North Georgia mountains, and there are a ton of really cool people around, but, I don't run in a lot of the same circles, so a lot of my friends kind of live outside of this area. And, you live in the sticks. Like, you live on the top of a mountain. So, yeah. So, I mean, after a while, you just, it becomes difficult. You don't have a lot of friends around, and you get kind of bored. And that's, I think, one of the cool things about being able to do this is at the very end of the day, at least I get to spend some friend time, whatever. But I was down in the dumps.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, I was down in the dumps the other day because I hadn't seen, specifically you guys in a while, and was kind of mopey about stuff. And then, so Chris gets on Facebook and sees that I'm kind of being, mopey and whiny about stuff. And he was like, here you go. And he forwarded me, because I'd been looking for the, I'd forwarded you a link to the ScarJo pic, so it was really kind of grainy, and he forwarded me a much better link, and I'm like, oh my God, thank you, my life is better now. I don't know what Kate Beckinsale looks like naked, but it can't be better.
Those boobs will clear up anybody's face.
Yeah, it can't be better than ScarJo boobs, man. That, oh my God.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
Doesn't get any better than that. Here's another thing, man. Speaking of social outlets, we are 108 days away from DragonCon.
Sweet. It's coming. I haven't even begun to work on my costume yet. I got to get on that.
All I want to know is who's coming with me, man.
Oh,
who's coming? Oh, I know you're coming. I'm talking to our listeners. Like, who's coming?
And that, guys, that's going to be kind of an awesome time for us all to get together. I go down to Florida a lot because my folks live down there. You go down there at times too, so there will be times that we can kind of meet up and see you guys in Florida. But this is, I think, a good opportunity for us all to get together, go to a con, have a good time. I live up the road on a lake with a big barbecue place next to us where we could all grill out. I mean, we could make it a good time. So please, if you have the opportunity, consider going. Like I said, we're all going to kind of be there. It's a good time to network, meet up with some friends. You do it once a year. It'll take you a long way.
You know who else is going?
Who else is going?
Justin Harris is going this year.
Is he?
Yes, I actually I messaged him on Facebook last night, and I sent him a link to DragonCon. I was like, hey, man, I don't know if you're interested or not. Steve and I are doing this. I ran into your brother there last year.
Yeah, that's right. We saw him.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I got my tickets already, man. I'm going.
Sweet, very cool. So that's another to add to the wolf pack. Your wife is going.
Kenny Ewing and Nino Lavallardi, they're going. Yep. Sarah Lynn. So I mean, there's going to be quite a few of the Nerdtopian clan that are going to be coming, man. So we're going to have a good time out there.
My wife will be there, very pregnant at that point, ready to pop.
Right. And my wife will be there as the White Queen, which I'm very excited about seeing.
I thought she was going to go as.
I'm totally tooting my own horn, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was going as the the spirit healer.
She is still doing that as well, man. She's got a prototype for her wings built up. She's working on it, but yeah, we've got 2 costumes that we're doing. She's doing Spirit Healer and White Queen, and then I'm going to do Cyclops. And then Bizarro Superman is going to be my other one for this year.
You guys are overachievers, man. I wish I had that.
What's that?
I see you guys are such overachievers, man. I wish I had that kind of time. I don't have that time to bust out on all those costumes and stuff. You guys are artsy folk, man. You guys, especially like last year, her costume was amazing.
I'm not putting a lot of work into it this year, man. To be honest with you,
well, I'm
going to pre-order costume pieces and then just kind of put it together. I'm not going all artsy and shit with it. I don't have the time this year. I'm not going to bother with it. I'm just going to buy the pieces that I need. I'm having Ryan Bisengard. He's got a company that he's trying to market online, Maniacal Mask Makers, I think it's called. I'm going to have him and his partner custom make my Cyclops visor for me.
Yeah.
And it's going to run me some scratch, but you know, I don't want to deal with it this year.
Yeah.
I'd rather just pay the money.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. Sorry about that, man. It's an emergency break. I had a kid on the loose. My oldest just ran outside to meet up with her aunt, so that kind of freaked me out. Back to what you were saying. Ryan is making you an awesome Cyclops visor.
Yes. If you guys want, check him out on his page. It's Maniacal Mask Makers, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, and he works the technical aspect of what I do at work, so I see him almost every day. He's a brilliant artist, great dude. Go check him out, Maniacal Mask Makers. I'm giving him a little bit of a plug there, but he deserves every bit of it, dude.
Yeah, I wanted to say this too. This is something I was going to bring up about Justin. Justin last night, if you guys didn't see the post in there or saw the picture and was confused, Justin went down to a place called the Plaza in Atlanta. It's one of the oldest theaters in the Southeast, and met Tommy Wiseau. Now, Tommy Wiseau, I think you and I had some contention about this at the beginning because you'd never seen his movie. I'd never seen Troll 2.
I've never seen it still.
And we're gonna remedy that. Next time you're here, we're gonna figure out because you came in saying Troll 2 is the worst movie you've ever seen. Now I've seen some clips.
I still stand by that.
Yeah. Now I've seen some clips for Troll 2. It looks really bad, but in a good way. And there have been documentaries too. Like I was watching a little bit about how the main guy in Troll 2 is Dennis, and he's the nicest guy in the world. So you kind of like,
George.
Yeah. But he seems so likable and everything, and you're like, okay, well, it's kind of the worst movie in the world. The Room was a movie made by this guy named Tommy Wiseau.
Right.
Tommy Wiseau kind of looks like the Tim Burton of the indie film circuit if Tim Burton was completely retarded. He's got long black hair, real stringy long black hair, but made this movie called The Room, and he started out like this was going to be like, and if you see the beginning, it's like big sweeping like vistas of San Francisco, where apparently the whole thing took place, and he gets on there, and he is the star producer and director of the film. It is honestly, like, I've not seen Troll 2, and I'm sure Troll 2 is can't be bad and things like that, but I think The Room honestly is the worst acted, simply from Tommy's performance, and has become kind of this cult following. And what I wanted to play real quick was just one of the real quick snippet of the rooftop scene in this movie. So you'll hear us kind of
see. You've shown this to me before. Yeah. It's very funny. But yeah, go ahead and roll it, man.
Yeah, I was gonna do this, and then I've got one more too if we have some extra time. It's just the worst acting ever. So this is the rooftop scene with him coming up. Is Tommy coming up, talk to his friend who's meeting him up on the roof.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
That's just the real quick. That's just the.
Hi, Mark.
Yeah. That's just the real quick. Oh, hi. So if you hear us say, "Oh, hi, Mark," he's coming up and he's like freaking out, and I did not hit her. I did not hit her. This is bullshit. And oh, hi, Mark. So that's kind of one of the things that really cracked me up. Now this is to me one of the more infamous scenes because the entire scene is so poorly done. So in this scene, Tommy is going into the flower shop to get flowers for his girlfriend, who, unbeknownst to him, is cheating on him with Mark. So you see how everything kind of plays. Dun dun dun.
We have a love triangle.
Yes,
here.
there is a love triangle in this movie. So this is the floral shop
that's
scene.
Deep.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, can I have a dozen red roses, please?
Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't know it was you. Here you go.
That's me. How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
It's just, it is, in its own way, it is a beautiful movie because it's so bad. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's not where, I mean, there's so much more to it. I believe there's, what is the Mystery Science Theater guys are now doing, what's the name of it?
Riff Tracks.
I believe there's a Riff Tracks to the room. If you can get that, I've not heard of the Riff Tracks version. I'm sure it is well worth whatever those guys are asking for.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I as you were playing those clips just now, I kind of had an ingenious idea. I think what we should do for the next time we get together, and because it would take no effort on our part whatsoever, we should set up the audio equipment and run it as we're watching, and we kind of record our reactions as I'm watching The Room for the first time with you, and we can just kind of run a commentary on it as we're watching it.
Yeah.
And then just kind of put it up on YouTube and just say, okay, this is the start point. If you guys want to watch The Room with our audio commentary, you can do that. And then likewise, we can do that with Troll 2. We can do that with each of those terrible movies, dude.
I think that would be a lot of fun, but it is, It is absolutely, like I said, if you can find it, I don't think it's on any of the instant streaming sites or whatever, because if you look at this guy, Tommy Wiseau, this is all this guy has to live for. So, I mean, you want to keep some food on this man's table because of the art that he made. This movie is so terribly, terribly bad that it literally crosses that threshold from bad to good. Like, you have to see it just to see how bad it is. Go out, rent it, find it on iTunes, whatever. Try to get the riff tracks to it. Totally worth your time and money, man.
Oh, absolutely, man. I will totally. I will watch it with you next time we get together, man.
Yeah.
And we will immortalize that event, dude. Yeah, I've heard a lot about it. Some hail it as the best worst movie ever, and then and there's a number of other cult classics, Troll 2 being one of those. But yes, you and I will definitely sit down and watch it, man. And so Justin met him. That actor was there.
Yeah, and you can tell too. Now Justin, he used to live actually right next door to me, and so we did a lot of hanging out over the last couple of years. And he has a few faces where you can kind of tell. Now he's a funny guy, and we're used to kind of sitting there cracking jokes to each other. So you can kind of tell if he's kind of phoning in a laugh or if he's in full on hysterics. If you look at that picture of him shaking Tommy Wiseau's hand, it is a mixture of like maniacal glee and so much giddiness all rolled into one. So I was really happy for him. I was going to stop by the bank today. He also works at a bank. I was going to stop by the bank today and go through the drives. Oh, hi, Mark. And kind of get him, but didn't work out. But yeah, he looks, that I know that was a big deal to him. So I wanted to make sure it got a mention because that's awesome. It's so cool to probably meet Tommy Wiseau and then be able to kind of like make fun of him without him really knowing. So
yeah. Well, does he not know at this point? You think he'd know that everyone's making fun of the movie?
Well, that was one of the things. Like at the very beginning, and this is where he kind of got smart. At the very beginning, it was very like serious to him. He's like, "Oh, this movie is my opus, and all this other kind of stuff. I'm gonna be the next independent film guy and whatever." And it was just so terrible that everybody started laughing, but they started watching. So they're like,
right. Hey, that's an audience,
like,
man.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, this is a black comedy that I did." And it just to kind of like, oh, you guys think it's funny? Well, I still need to make money off of it, so we'll call it funny. Which I kind of respect him for doing because he's like, all right, fair enough. But yeah, so I honestly think that maybe he has an idea, but I don't think he gets his own sense of humor. Until they make The Room 2, and he kind of surprised me. I'd totally be into watching The Room 2, man. That movie needs
Room 2,
yeah,
directing.
They can hold off on the Marvel sequels, man. Just give me a Room 2. That would be awesome for me.
What happens in The Room 2, Steve?
I just think there's more story to tell. Oh, there's so much, like, you got to watch The Room 1, and then when you watch like The Room 1, like there's going to be another one. You got to watch The Room, and there's so many things, like, oh my god, the mom in there. Oh, it's hilarious.
Maybe The Room 2 should be the sequel, or I'm sorry, should be the prequel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they go back in time.
Lucas
they go back in time, and it's just a movie of Tommy Wiseau eating paint.
Yeah.
Just like, this is how I got that way, He's just like, he's got two Sharpies up his nose, and he's just eating paint with a giant ladle. That would be great. Yeah, I'd still watch it though, man. It's funny.
Well, and speaking of things that should never be done, I'm gonna go ahead and predict big fat fail for this, man. Today, the CW released the plot synopsis for their new series Arrow. You heard about this or no?
No, this is new to me.
Okay. The CW, who brought us Smallville,
Yeah.
and also the failed Batman TV series Birds of Prey, and also the failed Aquaman TV series called Mercy Reef. Seems like they kind of had a one-hit wonder on their hands. Well, they've released a plot synopsis for their new comic book superhero series Arrow, which is based on Green Arrow.
Really?
Yes. Have you
Okay.
this is news to you?
This
You
is
never
all
anything
well.
about this?
I don't.
It's all news.
Yeah, I don't have cable anymore, so
Okay,
yeah,
fair enough.
this is new.
Well, first of all, so they released the plot synopsis, and I don't know. I once again, I'm predicting big fat fail for this, but the plot synopsis for Green Arrow, the story is going to start out. It happens 5 years after Oliver Queen is recovered from an island after being shipwrecked and marooned. So basically, he spends 5 years alone on an island by himself, and he returns home, and he's welcomed by his mother, his sister, and his best friend, who, as the synopsis said, sense that his time on the island has changed him. You fucking think?
5 years on an island.
5 years alone. Like, I don't think. See, okay, let's say you were in a plane and it goes down. You spend 5 years completely isolated on an island, and it's like you get back, and I'm going, hey, Steve, did that time isolated on an island change you at all?
Nope, I'm good. But
okay.
They're gonna bear. I mean, isn't that kind of burying the lead a little bit? Don't you want to show him on the island, kind of going crazy and shooting arrows at fucking coconuts and shit? Like, don't you want?
I imagine they'll probably lead into
some
that a little bit.
flashbacks and stuff. Yeah.
Like they'll probably like flash back to his time on the island, like a la Lost kind of, but only it'll be like Lost in reverse.
Yeah.
So he tries to reestablish the connection with his former girlfriend, who I guess had to move on after he was assumed dead. Very kind of cast away.
I was about to say, is he working for FedEx?
Yeah, right.
Does he have a crazy a giant fro in the movie? That would be cool.
Not that I know of, but I've only seen a picture of him with like the hood on, so yeah. he might take it off, and there's a giant fro and beard there.
Yeah.
So it's while he's trying to reestablish it with his girlfriend that he's creating the persona of Arrow. And they referred to him as that Arrow. Like, so you're taking the fucking green out of it? You're just gonna call him Arrow?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
It's like calling the Green Lantern Lantern.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're gonna take all this licensed content, like some badass, like if you're gonna use that and enter in the DC universe, like you gotta fucking put your head underwater and like and take everything that comes with it. You use that. And change, I mean, don't change it, but like augment it to your reality. I mean, you can't when you start screwing with things. That's what makes fanboys mad.
That's when you have shit like Catwoman.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if they would have done things like so one of the things that Nolan's Batman did is it kind of changed the direction that they were going with Batman. The comic books. After he started doing his stuff, took like, and certainly in the new 52 series, tended to start skewing a lot darker than it had before those movies came out. So that's a good marriage. You get the people on board, and then you take it and you put it in you take it and you put it in a different context, but you leave the continuity the fuck alone.
Yeah. Exactly.
So exactly. I don't know. I would give it a shot because you can never tell with these things. I mean, it may turn out to be something good, and a lot of the kind of the nerd stuff that people are doing lately. One of the things that I haven't sat down and watched yet, but I'm getting really excited to sit down and do because Eric has watched it and loved it. Is that the show? What's the girl from House is on it? I think it's the ABC. It's Once Upon a Time. Is it called Once Upon a Time?
Yeah, I've not seen it.
Yeah, but I've heard excellent things about it. But they, basically they take a compilation of fairy tales and things, and you go back and forth between the real world and the storybook world and whatever. Right. So with the quality of the stuff that people are doing nowadays in that genre, I'd still give it a shot. But it immediately is going to, kind of take a haircut with me. with changing that kind of shit around. Honestly, like, I probably won't watch it until I hear what Kevin Smith has to say about it, because he had such...
Yeah, because he wrote for Arrow.
Yeah.
Or Arrow. Fuck, I'm doing it already. No, he
yeah.
wrote for Green Arrow for a while.
Yeah, and you know, that is my all-time celebrity mentor.
Yeah.
You know, and the reason I came up with an idea to do a podcast period was because of him.
Right.
So I'll probably wait till see what he has to say about it. If he says watch it, I'll watch it.
All right, fair enough. But, you know, I think he's got some creative license with the characters, so if he likes it, then I'll check it out.
And he's usually good about that.
Man.
Yeah, he's usually good about that. If he likes something, he'll say it. If he doesn't, he'll be like, fuck it, it's not worth your time. So.
Yeah. Well, I know you are a fan of Skyrim.
I am a fan of Skyrim.
Yep. I don't know if you've heard about this or not, but they have announced the Elder Scrolls Online RPG.
Yes, I've seen that.
I'm on the fence about it a little bit. I don't really know which way to go with it. I know you and I both played World of Warcraft on and off for a long time.
Yeah.
And ever since then, like I've kind of dabbled in a few other online RPGs. Nothing else has really kind of tickled my fancy yet. The trailer for the game looks intriguing, but that's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
The one thing that I like about it is you can kind of, they've announced you can explore the entire continent of Tamriel, so you're not just limited to just Cyrodiil or just Skyrim or just Morrowind. You can explore all those areas and probably more areas that have been kind of released in the previous Elder Scroll games.
Yeah.
Now, as far as setting goes, I know it takes place 1,000 years before Skyrim, which predates... I know it predates Oblivion, and it predates the events of Morrowind. Those are the only three that I've played so far.
Yeah.
And it follows the tale of Moloch Bal, a Daedric prince. And
he's the big bad guy too, right?
What's that?
No, Moloch Bal isn't the big bad guy. Who's the one that they do? No, it is. That is the big bad guy. He's the prince of the demon prince of like war or something, right?
I'm not certain, but what I'll do, I'll look it up and then I'll post it on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
At NerdtopiaCast. So if somebody's interested in checking that out, they can come over to our page and read up on it.
Yeah, I got to the place in Skyrim where you start getting all the Daedric artifacts, and I want to say that's the guy. He has a no, Moloch Bal is the guy, the mace dude. And then Mehrunes Dagon.
Was he evil then?
Yeah, Mehrunes Dagon is the big evil one who opens the Oblivion gates.
Yeah.
And then and Moloch Bal is the I think he's like the S&M one. Like he's the demon god of hard fucking or something. But he gives a really badass mace, and I was a melee guy. So we actually have a quick clip of the trailer we'll go ahead and run for you guys here to get your blood pumping about it.
Right on.
The Imperial throne sits empty. The dragon fire's cold, unlit, and from every corner, darkness grows. Now, ancient enemies band together. Unlikely alliances are forged. Old ambitions rekindle. And as enemies rise faster than allies, salvation cannot come from one hero alone, but from many.
Badass.
I got a little excited, man.
Yeah. There's something else too. I posted this a little while ago. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. Something else that I discovered. Skyrim's got a big mod culture, and that's one of the things that I didn't know about when I bought it originally, because I got it for Xbox. And unless you have a moddable Xbox, which I don't, or one that's kind of, I guess, jailbroken, you can't really do much modding on the Xbox version, but you can on the PC. So I would honestly consider going back and buying the PC version just to get this mod.
Alrighty guys, so for all you console fags that keep on insisting...
Oh.
Nope.
Let me get a better one.
Try again.
Let me get a better one here.
All right.
Yeah, this will do it. Okay, just to get ... this this mod.
Okay.
As fearless in death as he was in life.
That's the beginning.
Ignored in the rack.
Where a macho man is coming from.
Here it is again. Did you hear that?
I said next prisoner.
To the block, prisoner. Nice and easy.
So you're walking up to the block, something's going on in the skies, right?
Right. Something's gonna happen.
Putting the head down,
Right.
getting the axe ready.
What in oblivion is that?
Gentry, what do you see?
Yeah!
What the hell?
There is a
Was there not
mod.
more? I wanted to hear more.
There is a mod that turns the dragons into the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yes!
It is.
Oh, that's fucking awesome!
If there was anything worth buying something on 2 systems, it would be to have a dragon telling you to snap into a Slim Jim. And every single time the dragon blows fire.
I don't think I can take him seriously.
This is instead of the
Macho
roar.
Man.
Yeah, instead of the roar, it's yeah, and the fire comes out.
Yeah.
That to me, oh man, the first time I saw that I was kind of transfixed. I sat there and probably watched it 3 or 4 times. Like this is the most. Like I wonder if there are Hogan dragons. Like that to me would be like, you know, because in the game like there are blood dragons and green dragons and black dragons and shit. Like one of them, you know, you're kind of walking around and you hear off in the distance, dun, 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 and it gets closer. What you gonna do, brother?
It hurts inside.
Yeah. And then instead of like the maybe it was Mean Gene, and then it comes out or something like that. Like, oh my god, like that would be the best mod ever. So that's yet another reason to buy yet another copy of Skyrim if you have it on the Xbox or PlayStation. Don't have it on the PC, just to get that mod, man. That thing looks incredible.
That is fucking amazing, dude, that they do shit like that.
Yeah.
That's just fun.
Yeah.
You imagine like there's a like a dragon that's maybe 200, 300 feet above you, and you just hear like all of a sudden, oh my god, he's dropping the elbow, and you just hear, and that's when you just kind of log out because
he's not supposed to be here. He's supposed to be
on
extinct.
SmackDown. Oh my god, will somebody stop the damn match?
Ring the damn bell. Mrs. Foley's baby boy.
Meanwhile, the dragon's like, the ref didn't see it. It didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. And all the there was an epic thread. There was some stuff I kind of did on the internet last week. Sometimes I had a tendency to get bored at work, and I sit there and I kind of troll a little bit on the internet, and at the risk of alienating some, I thought I would share this really quick. There again, I was mentioning Justin. Justin is a funny dude, and a lot of times, you know, he and I will sit there and just crack little one-liners about stuff going on or whatever. He'll start a thread, and then I'll start talking, and then we'll just go back and forth for hours and hours and hours and see who eventually runs out of jokes first.
Right.
And so he was on there the other day, and we had the he was, I guess, I haven't been able to get back into wrestling yet. It's been
you need someone to watch it with you.
Yeah, you do.
Really, that's what it takes.
We were into it for a real long time, but I would say that's more kind of in the heyday of things, back when the NWO and all that other kind of stuff is out, and Hogan coming back and being the bad guy, whatever. So that's kind of the last time I really got into it. But he went to WrestleMania this year. And so he kind of got back into it a little bit, and he put on his Facebook site the other night. He said his status update was John Cena's getting a divorce, Reportedly, his wife has filed because he kept using the same 5 moves on her.
Yeah.
Which I thought was clever.
In the thread.
So my response was, if one of those is the 5-knuckle shuffle, the damage is probably already done. And then you said, also, she could never see him. So this began like a 30-something comment thread of just kind of hilarity that went on for a couple hours. And I'll kind of hit some highlights, because I know not everybody's a wrestling fan, wouldn't get some of the jokes, but just because I thought some of this was really clever. One of the things he said was the only thing that she wants to keep is her engagement padlock necklace. I said, yeah, I heard she's having it annulled because they got married under false pretenses. Cena told her he was an artist, and as we all know, Cena can't draw. Which basically means, in the wrestling game, like, you draw a crowd, and Cena can't draw a crowd, so a lot of this kind of insider terms.
Can he not? I thought he was, like, really big.
Yeah, but no, he's kind of like, and all of the marks.
He headlined at WrestleMania.
Well, he does, because Vince pushes him because he thinks he's going to be, but like, nobody, like, it's kind of like the phases that went through with a lot of the guys that they were getting pushes, but that no one could, like, remember Psycho Sid always got the push, but nobody liked watching him in the ring. So
Big Show was another one that they tried to push the fuck out of him, and they just, I mean, like, I remember, like, he won the belt, and then, like, nobody gave a shit. Like,
yeah.
So they just kind of used him as more of a gimmick after that than anything else.
Joe Clyde, another one of our friends, said, the John Cena's famous phrase is hustle, loyalty, respect. Joe put up there, hustle, loyalty, neglect, which I thought was great. I said all of their bedroom time resulted in either countouts or dusty finishes, which, again, one of the things that they talk about in wrestling is dusty finish, where everybody kind of comes in the end. But double entendre there. And then the last one, which I thought was good, was he kept referring to his sexual climaxes as taking it to the pay window, which is one of the things that Dusty Rhodes used to say at the end of a match, taking it to the pay window. So just a little fun with trolling there for all of you former recovering pro wrestling fans. I figured you guys would get a kick out of it.
That's fun, man. It's you do stuff like that in your free time. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
So here's a guy that has done some constructive shit in his free time.
Okay.
There's a guy, I think he is an engineer. I don't know if you read this or not, but he has identified himself only as BTW Dan. And he has proposed...
Wait a minute, hold on. Hit me with that again. Okay. BTWKM?
No. BTW Dan.
Oh, okay.
As Daniel.
That scares the hell out of me, because I'm like, is it like every time somebody starts throwing out initials, I'm thinking like it's going to be some sort of serial killer or something. So like BTK,
No.
BTW Dan kind of freaks me. All right, fair enough. So he's not killing folks for that.
Actually, when I Googled this today, I saw it on like several websites, and like people are posting this on their Facebook left and right. It's pretty interesting. I read the article. This guy is an engineer, and he has proposed that we can build a real functioning starship in 20 years with current technology.
Sweet, okay.
He has outlined in gratuitous detail this starship, and he's kind of modeled it after the original Starship Enterprise, which surprisingly, he says, works best. So he's drawn up conceptual designs, ship specs, a funding schedule, and just about every imaginable detail in between.
Yeah.
So here's some kind of cool things about it. One, it would generate its own gravity. It can carry 1,000 passengers.
Okay.
First, after you would launch it into space, it would serve as a space station / port for a while.
Yeah.
Before being launched on missions to the moon, possibly Mars, Venus, or other places in our solar system, and possibly even to the depths of our own ocean, which can be done, he says, with very little tax increase. He wants to build one like every 33 years, which is once a generation. He wants to crank out another one of these things.
Right.
And he's claiming that he can send it to once it's built, he can send it to the moon in 3 days, and then Mars in 90.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a bold claim, and I tend to stay on the skeptical side of things.
Yeah.
But I did think it was noteworthy that I had to kind of bring this to our attention because it's one of two things. One, it's just kind of a big publicity thing, and he's throwing it out there just to get someone's attention for whatever.
Yeah.
Or two, it's legit, and we're kind of standing on the edge of brand new possibilities. Either way, it's fucking interesting.
It kind of got me there for a second when you said standing on the edge.
Yeah.
Do you know where I'm going with that?
You better not fucking play Lady Gaga.
No, man. That's what pops in my head when you say standing at the edge.
What the fuck is that?
You don't recognize this?
I don't recognize that, dude.
That's Saved by the Bell, the College Years theme song.
I didn't watch the College Years.
Why not, dude? Kelly kept getting hotter.
Why would I watch the College Years, dude? It was just, it should have, you don't go to college with your high school friends, man. It's just unrealistic.
Hey. Maybe you don't have the commitment to friendship like Zach and AC Slater and Lisa was there. Screech was a hall monitor. No, what do you call that?
Nobody fucking does, man.
Who do you call the hall monitors in college? What are they? They're the
fucking the dude that gets his ass kicked in the parking lot.
No, they couldn't kick his ass because Bob was there. Remember Big Bob?
Oh.
Never mind. This is a little. This may be a bit above your head. We don't have to talk about the heady stuff.
Oh, for
it was a great show. It was a good show. It was an okay show. It was something to watch.
It was great. It was all right. Had some problems. It wasn't so good. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Boo!
It was all right. It was just all right. But still, it was something to watch, and Kelly Kapowski was on it, so I watched it. But that's when you say standing on the edge. That's what pops in my mind. Standing at the edge of tomorrow. I'm not gonna apologize. Don't judge me.
No, I'm not judging you.
Yeah.
Out
No,
loud.
I think you're judging me. But that's cool.
Maybe a little, but that's all right because I still love you.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, all right. Fuck transitions. I'm just gonna jump into this.
Just jump in.
I've been doing my best to transitioning is not my strong suit.
I don't know how you're going to transition from the Saved by the Bell College Years theme song anyway. Unless
I fucking can't. No.
Yeah, unless you're talking about something,
So
another.
we're just going to go ahead and change gear. Like it's something that like Jen listened to the past podcast and she's like, your fucking transition's weak. I was like, yeah, but I don't care about that. She's like, no, when you don't segue, it makes the show really choppy. So I've been doing my best to segue shit. And when you start talking about Saved by the Bell, the College Years, I've got no fucking way to transition into this. So I'm hoping that pointing out the weak point in the show will just make it funny and less weak.
Would you think this would help you transition at all? Maybe it'd be easier to transition from something like this.
Pills? You mean you really are taking drugs?
I need them.
Jesse, give me those.
I need them, Zach. I have to sing.
Jesse, you can't sing tonight.
Yes, I can. I'm so excited. I'm so
Was that a fucking after school session?
That was that was the after school. Jesse's hooked on caffeine pills. Saved by the Bell. Which
caffeine pills?
Yeah, it was caffeine pills. Which is like
that was the direction they went with that was fucking caffeine pills.
Yeah, I'm sure my family and friends would have loved it if I fucking got hooked on caffeine pills.
Even the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like Carlton got hooked on speed.
I was about to say, didn't he do blow for a while?
There.
Yeah. All right, so you can transition from that. There you go. There's manna from heaven.
So, you know who else may have done drugs at some point?
Who's that?
Gerard Butler. I don't know. He might have.
No, he actually, dude. No, you're on target because he had an addiction to painkillers. Just checked into rehab like a month ago. There you go.
Right. He had an addiction. I remember hearing that now. Yes, he had an addiction.
You have.
Oh, that's fucking dude. That's awesome. I'm making myself a round of applause.
Mission accomplished. Next song. That's a transition in the bank. Next song.
Gerard Butler, of course, who, as you know, played King Leonidas in 300.
That's right.
And there is a, excuse me, that head cold I'm dealing with. There is a 300 spinoff in the works.
Really?
Yeah, and like at first, my initial thought was no, fucking leave it alone.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. We don't need to do another 300 movie. But this one is interesting. First of all, you've got Zack Snyder, who said he'd be on board to do it. Who's the director of the original.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't know, like he's the director of the new Superman, Sin City, Sucker Punch, Watchmen. So I mean, he's got good cred. Street cred.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to be doing a 300 spinoff about the Athenian general who leads his forces against the Persian army that takes place during the Battle of Thermopylae. So while the Spartans were over here doing this is the Athenian side of it. So that was their side of the war.
Okay.
So I think that's an awesome story.
Yeah.
I'm interested. Very interested.
Yeah, that's the Snyder stuff, man. And that's why the Superman stuff intrigues me, because I mean, if you look at his stuff, like Sucker Punch and 300 and shit like that, it's like one of these things is not like the other. He's doing Superman, for God's sake. So
right.
I think, but honestly, I think in a way he could, if anybody could make it work, he could put a cool enough spin on it to where people would actually come out to see it. So I'm real interested in to see what he's gonna do. On a similar note, I finally sat down and watched the Spider-Man trailer.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that. I actually had that on my topic list.
It did nothing for me, man.
Yeah, no, man, I'm right there with you. Like, I can't get excited about it, no matter how hard I try. Like, it's just not. I can't get excited about a new Spider-Man film. It was only 5 years ago that we were watching this franchise unfold, and I was actually. I mean, and a lot of people didn't like Spider-Man 3. I didn't think it was as god-awful as people made it out to be.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was good, but I didn't think it was bad either. It was just kind of mediocre.
Well, I mean,
they suffered because they tried to do too much with it.
Yeah. And then they got away from the original formula. But I think it was well casted overall. I think adding the two villains was a mistake, and I think we always see having more than one villain in there generally runs as a mistake.
Well, you had not only two villains, but you had the third, which was Green Goblin, and it goes from his transition from villain to hero, and then in the meantime you also had Peter proposing to Mary Jane and the black symbiote spider suit and going into Venom's origins, like too fucking much, man.
Yeah. I think if they would just would have, I think everybody at that point was craving a Spider-Man Venom movie, and if they could have just stuck with Venom, I think it would have been badass. And then this whole Sandman story arc and shit, like it just didn't like I
thought it was a great story arc. Like if anything else, I think they should have just stuck with the black Spidey suit and Sandman and left it at that and just set up for Venom.
Yeah. It's Again, it was one of those things that could have been done a whole lot better, but I don't see the point in the reboot. And I mean, I guess the hope is like what would be cool is if they went ahead and they made this little one shot, right? And it was okay, it was a good watch, but then they start they take Spidey and they start tossing him into the Marvel compilations and shit like that. And maybe
unfortunately, they can't do that.
That's right, because it's owned by a different studio, right?
Yeah. Well, it's Sony. I think Sony right now owns the movie rights to Spider-Man, and they have to do one every couple of years so that Marvel doesn't get the movie rights back.
Yeah.
It's the same reason that we're seeing a new X-Men movie every year or two. Like this last year, it was
First Class.
It was X-Men First Class, and then prior to that, it was Origins Wolverine, and now we're looking at another Wolverine movie. So they have to do something with that franchise every few years, or else the rights revert back to Marvel Disney.
Yeah,
and they don't want that to happen.
Well, I liked First Class. Like I liked So I guess I'm just I don't know. Maybe it's something that the trailers just aren't capturing the imagination. I don't hate this new kid as Spider-Man. He might be good, but it seems like every time they had an opportunity in the preview to relate some storyline, like it all seemed to fuck with continuity, like in a bad way, like not like little bends and twists, like fucking Spider-Man, having natural webbing instead of having to use cartridges, not like little things, but fucking Peter Parker, your parents were part of something, they didn't.
Well, I mean that does harken back to the comic books, but even still, like I just feel like it's the only reason they're going with that is it's not a story that they've explored in the movies yet.
Yeah.
Because they've got to do something with it, I guess. Something that kind of they can't do his origin story really because they've done that already.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to harken back to an untold tale, but still kind of have it be an origin story, but not really. I'm predicting fail.
One of the things that and I love Emma Stone, man. I think she's hot as all get out, which automatically makes me want to, like, anything she's in I want to watch because she's hot. But Martin Sheen is playing Uncle Ben. And I remember an interview.
I can see it. It's a good cast.
Yeah, but there was an interview where basically, this is after the movie was pretty much shot, and they were asking him about his character and things like that, and he's like, well, I really didn't read much about Uncle Ben. I don't know much about the character, so, like, to me, that's like, okay, well, the studio had to prep him on his role. He obviously didn't do any role prep, and it's not. I mean, Uncle Ben is a pretty serious figure in the Spider-Man pantheon. But, like, if that's the preparation that's going to go into the work for Uncle Ben, like how seriously are they taking the rest of the characters in the film?
Yeah.
So that to me was a kind of a turn off, and I was just like, from there on in, I kind of kept my distance. And after watching the trailer, it still was just like. There was a part in the beginning where he quips a little bit with a thug, which was done, I thought, pretty well. So I don't hate on Garfield for his portrayal of Spider-Man. I'm worried about the whole thing as a whole. It just doesn't seem to me to be like already be set up for a winning formula.
Yeah. If I have some friends that want to go see it, I'll probably go.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go out of my way to see it.
Right.
And if nothing else, I'll probably end up catching it on Redbox or something.
Just watch the Avengers again, man. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Just watch Avengers again.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking Avengers, man. Have you heard, how are we doing on time? Before we go
we're way over, but we got stuff to cut out, so.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Before we, get going, I won't hang on Avengers for too much, because we kind of blew our Avengers load last week. But Avengers, they passed globally over $1 billion.
Already?
Yeah, in 19 days.
Jesus, that's a lot of money, man. Good for them. They deserve it. They deserve it. And that's one of the things.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's one of the things too that one of the things that Kevin Smith has said before, relating to piracy and anti-piracy stuff. It's like movies like the Avengers, people are gonna like. Even if I had the opportunity to illegally download that movie, you can't replicate the experience that you get watching that movie in theaters. So, the best way to combat internet piracy and things like that is to go out there and put out better product. You know what I'm saying? So, more power to those guys. They absolutely deserve every red cent that they're getting because they put out a quality freaking film. And I'm going to go watch it again. But, that's one of the things that's like, if you're gonna, don't bother illegally downloading that movie. Go watch it in theaters. You can't. It's not gonna do it justice. So
I agree.
That's my soapbox. That's my soapbox for that.
That's fine. Avengers 2 announced for 2015. So we've got to wait 3 years, but then again, we've also got Captain America 2, Thor 2, Iron Man 3. And then yet another movie in 2014 that is going to have something to do with the franchise. We just don't know what yet.
Yeah, since we.
I'm thinking it's probably going to be like an Ant-Man or a Black Panther film.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. I mean, because at this point, yes, they are kind of the second stringers of the Avengers.
Right.
But you can. But given this movie's success, all you have to do is just attach it to this franchise, and it's automatically going to do well.
Yeah. And, and since we spoiled the daylights out of the film last time, I'm not going to put any spoilers up this time. But if the villain that they imply at the end of the movie is the villain that is in Avengers 2, which every sign points to yes, that's how it's going to go down, it's totally going to be worth waiting 3 years.
Well,
that's going to be amazing.
They're also speculating putting that villain in Thor 2.
Really?
It's just speculation at this point, but some are saying they can put him in Thor 2.
Because he's got to go back and get what's his, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm.
I had one more quick story before we got to do wrap, and I know we're kind of running over, but I'm sure you've probably heard. Have you heard the stuff about John Travolta and the Masseuse?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So apparently the story is Travolta was on the West Coast or something along those lines, and is being sued by, I think now the count is up to, the count was up to 3, and then one dropped out. Actually, one, the lawyer left him because he's like, you don't really have a case. but he's still representing, from what I understand, the other two masseuses, masseurs.
I think massage therapists.
Yeah. Fucking rub down dudes. I think that. So apparently, what the story is Travolta comes in and this guy starts he starts getting a massage so usually it's customary you take your clothes off, whatever. Some people like to leave the boxers on. Some people just completely disrobe. So, he kind of goes down to the old birthday suit, lays face down on the table, and the masseuse from the reports puts the towel over his ass and starts rubbing him down. And Travolta's like, this is weird, and he keeps moving like that. Oh, so weird. The towel just fell. Oh, what? Well, come on, weird. And so he keeps pushing the towel down, and the guy's like, finally he's like, all right, whatever, put the towel down, whatever. So he's rubbing down Travolta, right? And Travolta takes control of the player one joystick, and starts maneuvering. And guy's like, hey, wait a minute, hold on, that's a bad touch. It's like, I need an adult. And Travolta's like, oh no, man, come on, it's weird. I'll pay you money. And so the guy's like, nah, man,
every Travolta line has it's weird in there.
Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know.
It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, come on, my god. Oh, weird. So he's like, no, man, that's not, I'm not down with that. And he's like, it's weird. This is Hollywood starlet wants to do a three-way. We could do it. It's weird.
Hey, man, I'll jerk you off.
Yeah, and then he's like, I'll jerk you off and stuff. And so the guy, is like, oh, I'm, and so he goes and puts his case up, whatever. And apparently, there's evidence basically saying that Travolta was on the East Coast at the time. TMZ broke it. It's like, this has got to be, this particular instance has got to be false because we have paid. TMZ fucking puts their cape on. It's like, no, we're the only ones who can break stories about celebrities, and they kind of fly in. They're like, no, Travolta was here. We'll get the gay feed on him. So that kind of broke down. But I say all this to say this, and this is where it ties into the nerd whatnot. So in the past 10, 15 years, is somebody who I've begun to grow immense respect for since her role in Dogma, and going way back further than that, but certainly a newfound respect for Miss Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher, of course, was Princess Leia, also the daughter of...
She was in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh, yeah, she was in Jay... She was also, I think she was also in she was definitely in Jay and Bob Strike Back, but I think she was also in Dogma, if I'm not mistaken. I could be.
I think you are mistaken.
Yeah, but anyways, she was definitely in Jay and Bob, in the Rules of the Road scene where they're in there and they basically gotta make with the head. So, but anyways, she's the daughter of, not only was she Leia, but she's the daughter of Eddie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds. So she's technically Hollywood royalty, born into it, and knows everything, knows everybody. That her entire life's been in Hollywood. Well, in the past 10, 15 years, she's kind of developed the Irish curse, which I also am developed with. It's that, we've never met a drink that we don't like. She became a little bit of a lush. And also, she kind of gets loose with the talk sometimes. She gets out and she just says whatever the fuck she wants to because I'm fucking Princess Leia. So she goes out and it comes up in conversation at some point with Carrie Fisher, and Carrie Fisher just basically says, "Look, John, everyone knows. They've known about it for a long time, and no one cares. Just go ahead and come out." And I'm like, holy shit. Princess Leia just outed Vinnie Barbarino.
Yeah.
That's kind of fucked up.
Just, John, come out of the closet, okay?
Come out of the closet. Oh, no, I can't. It's weird. It's warm in here. It's weird. I don't want to come out.
John. Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, so I'm like, but, in this day and age, and I know he tries to, do the family man thing, and I'm very much for, in almost every conversation I've been in the last 2 weeks has been about gay marriage, and I've said this before, I'm probably the most pro gay marriage straight dude on the face of planet Earth, but in this day and age, there's still I guess with this their age bracket, where they are as grown adults. There's still such a stigma about it that they're kind of no, fuck you guys, I'm into chicks. And so you know, I mean, it is what it is, but I just thought the one piece that I thought was really kind of interesting to that story was fucking Princess Leia, like, laying it to him is like, fucking, like, you know, everybody knows you're gay. Just go ahead and own up to it.
Yeah.
I think you'd make a cute gay guy.
Yeah, man. It's 2012, man.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit anymore.
But I think he'd be kind of adorable as a gay dude.
Fucking
Like,
Ian McKellen's gay, and he's Gandalf and Magneto, man. That's what I see when I look at that dude. I'm like, I don't think, like, oh, he likes cock. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what your sexual preference is, dude. I judge you based on your merits and who you are, not who you like to bone in your spare time.
oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Ricky Martin and John Travolta in The Birdcage 2.
It's beautiful.
That would be. I would watch that.
I never saw Birdcage, but
you never saw The Birdcage? Oh, you got to watch The Birdcage, man. That's a funny fucking film. It's
Fair
really
enough.
good. Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Well, how we doing on time, man? Should we start wrapping it up?
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap. I know we're running way over, and these people have life to get to.
Steve.
Yes.
You got to give him the speech.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So,
come on.
We're
I promised for you, but
yeah.
Steve, we said we give him the speech with the music, and you got to do a little performance.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to preface this by saying, you know, I've had kind of a big week on the internet, kind of just trolling around and doing my thing. And usually, you know, I mean, I'm basically on the internet for the lulz and whatnot. So one of the discussions that we got into, like, first of all, I'm very, very pro women. Let's just put it that way. We've gotten in several discussions.
Nothing wrong with gay dudes, but we like boobs.
And I've tried, like seriously, I haven't tried, but there have been points in my life where I've sat there and it's like, well, you know, you got to consider that. You got to make a decision one point to go left, right, or straight. Pardon the pun. And you know, you got to think. You know, is there something I don't know about myself? Am I a gay dude? And there have been points in my life where it'd be like, you know, whatever. It wouldn't be the hardest thing in the world to be gay, and you know, whatever. But it's not part of like I'm so into women that it is impossible for me to be gay. So we started getting into a conversation the other night about nudity. And the question was, name a film that could not be made better by adding nudity. And
you got on your soapbox.
I did. It's something that's very near and dear to my heart. I am actually part of the Brazzers Make-A-Wish Foundation. In which we get really sick kids who are dying of terminal cancer, laid by porn stars. Generally the MILF genre, because they are generally more giving and they kind of know the ropes a little bit. So anytime I can get somebody some ass, I always like to. But so anyways, we started getting into the conversation, and we've had this conversation before. Oh, are things, you know, kind of, you know, especially Game of Thrones, is a takeaway? And my answer was a resounding no. I was called to carpet on that resounding no.
Yes, we're there.
Yeah, and
I witnessed the greatness.
And I did get on my soapbox.
It was a fucking inspired speech, man. Like I had no chance. I had to immortalize it in a photo and put it up there because I was moved to tears and I was moved to arousal at the same time.
And when you get the cry boner, those are usually the best kind of ones. So without any
the cry boner.
Yeah.
We're coining that.
Yeah. So without any further ado and no more gilding the lily, here we go.
Okay, go ahead.
Wait, hold on. Audio. Okay, now here we go. Doing what I have to ask you. Does a rainbow have enough colors? Does a child have enough hopes or dreams? Does one ever have enough beer or enough video games? No. No one does not. Everything is made better by hot, naked women boobage. Everything. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people have just lost their appreciation for the naked woman. Maybe it's wrong to like a cold beer and hair metal and fast cars and wet t-shirt contests. But maybe, just maybe it's not. Maybe it's okay to like boobs and thunderstorms and the electric guitar. Maybe it's still okay to be a man and to have a beard and kill a bad guy and get the girl. That's what this country used to be about. That's the America I loved. So maybe I'm just some washed-up has-been holding on to the past. A past filled with hot naked women and hot dogs and bourbon as far as the eye can see. But you know what? That's okay with me. I'll be that guy. Good night. And God bless America.
That fucking moved to tears, man. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that was a little
Fucking
intense.
beautiful.
That was a little intense.
It doesn't get any fucking better than that, man.
It doesn't.
For NerdtopiaCast, I'm Dylan Dalton.
I am Steve Wareham.
And let's take it home. Good night.
Do